Unraveling Patterns, the intricate science of habit formation. Greetings. Welcome once more to the realm of information for life, insights and ideas to navigate your world. Today we delve into the labyrinthine science of habit formation, journeying into the alleys of our minds where routines are etched like graffiti on the walls of our consciousness. Habits, the undetectable clockwork that gears our everyday life, are those deeply ingrained patterns of behavior that guide our actions, often subconsciously. They are like old friends or foes, familiar and predictable, yet their origins remain shrouded in the enigmatic folds of neuroscience. The crux of habit formation lies in a region nestled deep within our brains, the basal ganglia. This tiny yet influential structure operates like a backstage conductor orchestrating the symphony of our automated actions and routines. Habits are formed when certain behaviors become so well practiced that they bypass our conscious control and settle comfortably in the realm of automation, an adaptation that conserves cognitive resources for novel or complex tasks. Graybiel, 2008. Imagine our actions as beads of rainwater, tracing their path down a windowpane. With each repetition, these rivulets deepen, carving their course, and before we know it, the water, our actions, automatically flows along these paths. This process, known as chunking, is what underlies the formation of habits. Graybiel, 2008. Now each habit, like a story, unfolds in three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. This structure, identified as the habit loop, Duhigg, 2012, is the framework that supports our habits, and understanding it is instrumental in mastering them. A cue is the trigger that sets the habit in motion, like the smell of fresh coffee brewing in the morning. The routine is the behavior itself, such as drinking the coffee, and the reward, the satisfying conclusion, is the burst of energy and focus that follows. Duhigg, 2012. This sequence, when repeated, etches itself into our neural circuits, transforming the action into an automated routine. How do we break free from the snares of detrimental habits, you ask? The key to reshaping habits lies in understanding and manipulating the habit loop. Duhigg, 2012. To alter a habit, we need to identify the cue that triggers it, maintain the reward, but change the routine. For example, if you find yourself habitually reaching for a sugary snack mid-afternoon for an energy boost, instead replace the routine with a healthier behavior like taking a brisk walk or munching on a piece of fruit. You keep the cue and the reward, the mid-afternoon slump and the energy boost, but alter the routine. However, the art of habit change is not solely about the mechanics of the habit loop. There is another critical element, the power of belief. Our conviction in our ability to change is crucial, and it's often bolstered by the support of a community. Duhigg, 2012. Understanding the science of habit formation empowers us with the ability to construct a scaffold of productive habits that can elevate us to reach our potential and disassemble the shackles of destructive habits that hold us back. Once a habit is formed, it becomes the path of least resistance. It's like a well-worn trail in a vast forest, etched deep by frequent passage. When we find ourselves at the edge of this forest of decision-making, it is easier to tread along the beaten path than to forge a new one. We could almost navigate these paths blindfolded, with the terrain so familiar that it's etched into our mental maps. Wood, 2017. But if you've ever wondered why habits are so stubbornly resistant to change, it's because once these neural pathways are formed, they never entirely disappear. Even when we forge new habits, the old paths are simply overgrown, not erased. And under the right conditions, we can find ourselves straying back onto them. This resilience of habits is why an old habit can be triggered even after years of successful change. Neal, Wood, and Quinn, 2006. Now let's dissect the habit loop a bit more. The cue, the first part of the habit loop, is a trigger that tells your brain to initiate a behavior. It is a bit of information that predicts a reward. Our lives are flooded with potential cues, anything from a specific time of day, our emotional state, certain people or groups, or even a sequence of actions can serve as a cue. Duhigg, 2012. Moving on to the routine, the behavior itself. This is the most obvious part of the habit loop. It's the behavior you wish to change or encourage. It could be anything: snacking when stressed, taking a jog first thing in the morning, biting your nails when you're nervous. The routine is the habit that the cue initiates and the reward reinforces. Duhigg, 2012. And finally, the reward. Rewards are powerful because they satisfy cravings, but we're often not conscious of the cravings driving our behaviors. We might think we crave the donut when what we actually crave is a break from work or a moment of distraction. Only by figuring out what we're truly craving can we find healthier routines to satisfy our cravings. Duhigg, 2012. Let's delve into the science of habit change a bit more. When we strive to change habits, it's often not enough to simply understand the habit loop. What we truly need is a plan, a way to navigate around the habitual loops we find ourselves trapped in. This is where the concept of implementation intentions comes in handy. An implementation intention is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. That is, how you will implement your intention to carry out a particular behavior. Gallwitzer, 1999. For example, if you want to develop a habit of reading more, you could create an implementation intention like this. When it is 7 p.m., I will sit in my reading chair and read for 20 minutes. By specifying when and where you will perform the new routine, you make it easier for your brain to encode the new behavior into a habit. Gallwitzer, 1999. But as we mentioned before, belief plays a vital role in habit change. Without believing in our ability to make a change, even the best-laid plans might falter. To foster this belief, we often need a supportive community who believes in our ability to change and can help reinforce the new habits we're striving to form. Duhigg, 2012. Remember that habits are powerful, but they're not destiny. We can choose our habits once we know how. Understanding the science of habit formation and change equips us with the tools to shape our behaviors. While we've discussed individual habits so far, it's important to understand that our lives are comprised not of isolated habits, but of interconnected webs of them, known as habit systems. Wood, 2017. One habit can trigger another, setting off a cascade of automatic behaviors. For instance, your habit of waking up might trigger your habit of brushing your teeth, which then triggers your habit of making coffee, and so on. This understanding of habit systems is crucial for two reasons. First, it explains why certain habits, once changed, can set off a chain reaction affecting other habits. Duhigg, 2012, termed these as keystone habits. Keystone habits are behaviors that, once identified and altered, have the power to reconfigure other patterns. They are the linchpins of our habit systems. For example, regular exercise is often a keystone habit because it triggers widespread change. It influences eating habits, improves sleep patterns, and often leads to increased productivity and patience. By focusing on changing such keystone habits, we can initiate a process that over time transforms everything else. Duhigg, 2012. Second, understanding habit systems can help us design new habits more effectively. When trying to form a new habit, it's beneficial to identify a current habit you can stack the new habit onto. This is called habit stacking. Clear, 2018. For example, if you already have a habit of drinking a cup of tea in the morning, and you want to develop a habit of daily meditation, you could stack the new habit onto the existing one. So, your new habit system might look like this. After I make my morning tea, I will meditate for 5 minutes. This idea of habit stacking works because our brains use the existing habit as a cue for the new habit. Plus, this process helps create a structured environment, which is conducive to habit formation. Research shows that a consistent environment supports the development of habits because it provides routine cues for behavior. Wood and Neal, 2007. Let's delve a bit deeper into the power of belief in habit change. Belief and community, as we've touched on earlier, are integral to lasting habit change. But belief is not just about a positive outlook. It's about shifting your identity to align with your desired habits. Consider this. There is a difference between saying, "I'm trying to quit smoking," and "I'm not a smoker." The first statement represents a behavior change, while the second signifies an identity change. Research suggests that lasting change often starts with a shift in identity, in truly believing that we are the kind of person who can achieve the change we're striving for. Clear, 2018. Finally, cultivating patience is paramount in the process of habit formation and change. Habits take time to form and even longer to break. They're not a switch to be flipped, but a path to be forged and followed. We have to remember that progress might be slow and filled with setbacks, but each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to the habits we wish to adopt or discard. Remember that we are not merely the products of our habits, but the architects of them. Our lives are essentially an endless string of habits, shaping our days, steering our actions, and ultimately carving our destinies. Understand your habits. Scrutinize them under the stark light of awareness. Dissect them into their constituent parts, and then, with the precision of a skilled artisan, remold them. Create habits that serve you, that bring you closer to the person you aspire to. Remember, each day is a fresh canvas, and each moment is an opportunity to paint a stroke that brings you closer to the masterpiece of your choosing. Consider this. When we speak of habit formation and change, we're not merely talking about altering superficial behaviors. Rather, we're discussing the transformation of ourselves at a fundamental level. This transformation requires not only conscious effort and intention, but also a deep understanding of our intrinsic motivations and desires. Ryan and Deci, 2000. It's crucial to consider what drives us towards certain behaviors and how these motivations feed into our habits. For instance, are we choosing a particular habit because it aligns with our personal values and goals? Or are we being driven by external pressures and expectations? Understanding these motivations can provide significant insight into why some habits stick while others don't. Ryan and Deci, 2000. This brings us to the concept of intrinsic motivation, which refers to doing something because it is inherently rewarding, satisfying, or fulfills our sense of self. When a habit aligns with our intrinsic motivations, it is more likely to be durable and resilient to setbacks. Ryan and Deci, 2000. For example, if you find joy in painting and it enhances your sense of self, then the habit of painting regularly is more likely to stick. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation refers to doing something because of external rewards or pressures. While extrinsic motivation can initially facilitate habit formation, habits based solely on such motivations may not be as sustainable. Ryan and Deci, 2000. Remember that the journey of habit formation and change is deeply personal, reflecting our unique motivations, values, and life circumstances. There isn't a one-size-fits-all strategy. Instead, the strategies we've discussed can serve as a toolkit from which you can pick and choose what works best for you. Understanding and applying the science of habit formation doesn't mean that we become perfect practitioners of all our desired habits. It's not about achieving an unblemished track record of daily repetitions. It's about understanding the mechanics of our behaviors, becoming more in tune with our minds, and empowering ourselves to make conscious choices. In this dance of habit formation, there will invariably be steps taken forward and steps taken back. There will be days when old habits resurface or new ones seem out of reach. These moments are not failures, they're merely part of the process. It's crucial during these times to practice self-compassion and remind ourselves of the progress we've made. Understand that habits are not just repetitive actions, they're narratives we weave, telling the story of who we are and who we're becoming. As you navigate your journey of habit formation, remember to be patient with yourself, to celebrate the small victories, and most importantly, to enjoy the process. Habit formation is a profound journey of self-discovery and transformation. Embrace it with curiosity, armed with the understanding of the science that underpins it, and know that with every moment, with every choice, you are sculpting the masterpiece of your existence. Until our paths cross again in this labyrinth of life and learning, stay curious, stay resilient, and remember, you are the weaver of your life's tapestry, one habit at a time.